Hey y'all. So I've had this heavy on my mind for a while, and I don't know if this even makes sense, but I hope it does to somebody. So let me just explain. So you know how when we who are pro-Palestine talk about why we're pro-Palestine, and we'll say that, the evils that are going on in Gaza and this, ethnic cleansing, this genocide is evil, and that innocent civilians should not be bombed, to an end of their life and killed because of the terrorist group called Hamas. And for a long time, people would say that. And when this all first started, I said it too. I would say that this terrorist organization, Hamas, and talk about it in that way. But as the months have gone by, I've really sat on this and thought about it. And I was like, one, I can never again call Hamas a terrorist group because they are just freedom fighters fighting for their people. And two, I don't even know if this makes sense. This is the analogy I have in my head because it reminds me of them. They might not have killed people like that, but it just gives me the same kind of vibe. Hamas to me reminds me of the Black Panthers. And this might not make sense, I don't know, but this is the way I viewed it, right? The way I viewed it is, the Black Panthers were a group of black youth, young people, teens and 20s, who came together to, collectively fight in support of their people who were being terrorized by white supremacists, terrorized by the KKK, terrorized by the police. They grew up in environments where they had to watch daily their people, their African American, their Black American brothers and sisters be terrorized by these evil men and women who were white supremacists, KKK, and the police. Yes, they are all the same thing. They're just named different things. And so they were all watching this happen as kids. They grow up and they create the organization called the Black Panthers. Now, while the Black Panthers did it a little bit differently, where the Black Panthers also were educating the youth, they were giving out free breakfast to the community and groceries and other things that the people needed, and wanting to do more so community organizing in that way. They also felt enraged, and they also had, weapons, and they also, fought for the liberation of black people in this country. And while Hamas has not gotten to the level where they have done the community organizing part, they are doing the same thing, and while they are fighting for their people and wanting justice and liberation for their people. And I think there's a similarity there. And that's probably why the Black Panthers have always been pro-Palestine, because they probably see themselves in the Palestinian struggle. And so, when you grow up in occupation the way the Palestinians have, and you watch it your entire life, you get tired of being bullied and pushed around and carpet bombed and under occupation, and your people going to these Israeli prisons and being tortured to death. You're tired of watching these things. You are. The same way that black folks were tired of watching, black people be lynched in the South. They were tired of the KKK running amok in all of their towns. They were tired of people being bombed, these beautiful black cities and towns being bombed. They're tired of it. They're tired of their people going to jail unjustly. They're just tired of it, right? And so they rise up and they create these organizations. One of them is the Black Panthers. The other is Hamas. And they are out here fighting for the liberation of their people. Do I agree that maybe Hamas should not have taken the tactic of killing some, civilians? Yeah, sure. Killing is always bad. But the majority of who Hamas actually killed were not civilians. So you have to take that into consideration. And you also have to take into consideration that when the hostages have come back from being in captivity with Hamas, 90% of them came back smiling, came back happy. They talk about how Hamas was very hospitable to them and that they took care of them. And the ones that had children with them, they took care of their kids. And when they, the women, they were going through their cycles, they made sure they had pads, and the whole entire thing, they helped them out. And they did not torture them, right? And I feel like the same thing with the Black Panthers is that they weren't going to torture anybody. They just really wanted liberation for their people. And the same is with Hamas. And, to call Hamas the same as an ISIS, to call Hamas the same as the Taliban is disgusting. And it's not right. Because they are not in any similar way. Their goal was not really to kill people. Their goal was liberation for their people. If they felt like this was the only way that people were going to listen to them when it came to what was going on to their people, so be it. So be it. But, this is sometimes what you have to do to get real liberation. People don't like Che Guevara. People think Che Guevara is a communist and a terrible human being. I don't think that way, because I think that what he was able to accomplish during his time was very valuable for his people, because he wanted liberation for his people, right? The same with Hamas. It's the same with the Black Panthers. It's the same with the American Indian movement. It's the same with a lot of these liberation movements for these different cultures, because we're all going through the exact same thing, and all we want is liberation for our people, and we are willing to stand on business to get it. And if that means that some casualties have to be made at the end of the day, so be it. I'm not saying that killing people is right, but at the end of the day, sometimes it has to happen in order to get the ball rolling. And for anybody to say that if Hamas just didn't attack, none of this would be going on, you're crazy. You don't make any sense. And you obviously have not been paying attention to what's been going on over the last 75 years. Because to say that is to call ignorance. Because Hamas didn't start this, and Hamas will not end this. The same way that the Black Panther Party, who most of them are still on the FBI most wanted list, while they did not start this, they will not end this. This happened to Black people over 400 years ago, when we were first brought from the shores of Africa here to be enslaved. And it's the same thing in Palestine, and it's the same thing with indigenous people in this country and all over the world. And so I just want to bring that up because I think about it a lot, and I don't even know if it makes sense. You can tell me in the comments if I'm making sense. But I thought that that was a really good analogy to the struggle of Hamas, the Black Panthers, and other, groups who are out here fighting for liberation for their people. Because I just think that they are so quick to call all of these groups terrorists and put them on the FBI most wanted list and make people afraid of them, when in reality, they are just normal humans who have been oppressed their entire life and watched countless generations of their families be oppressed. And they are tired of witnessing this. And they are tired of being beaten down. And they are tired of being killed. And so, if it means that they are going to stand up and do something about it, so be it. Because somebody has to. Somebody has to stand up. And somebody has to do the right thing. So, that's just my little analogy for the day. I don't know. I don't even know if it made sense, but hopefully it did. And, shout out to all the, groups that are out here fighting for liberation for their people. You guys are amazing, and I stand with all of you. Peace in Palestine.